Hey, this is Professor Homa back with part 3. This will be our bibliography part of our MLA formatted research paper, and just happens to be on Camtasia. Okay, last thing we're going to do now that we have our sources, we're still in this area of references, is we're going to generate a bibliography. Now I'm going to go to my end of my document and I'm going to put a page break in. And let me just make sure I don't have an extra page. No, this is my last page. I'm going to go after this return and I'm going to insert a page break. So I'll go to insert and I'll just go to page break, and now I'm on a brand new page, and this on this final page is where I'm going to put, it's page 4 of our paper so far, is where I'm going to put up my bibliography. So I'm going to go to references, and before we were putting citations, here I'm going to do a bibliography. And I'm going to choose the works cited, because MLA likes to say works cited. And we may have to format this a little bit, but we're going to use this here. And we're just going to click in here, and there's my bibliography. Except, one thing it does, and now one thing it didn't do is it didn't format it exactly the way I want. We want to make sure, you might say, well, would it do it automatically? Not necessarily. One thing I am going to do here is I'm going to highlight this information, and I don't know if you could tell by looking at it, but it's actually not in Times New Roman. It's in Cambria. So I'm going to put it in Times New Roman, and it's also not in double spacing mode. You should see that it's not in double spacing mode, so I could use this little shortcut to put it in double space. And also note that it is in a hanging indent mode. If you remember, we talked about hanging indents. It's where you have the first line indent, it's out at the margin, and every line after that is a hanging indent. So that's the way lines in a bibliography should look, with a hanging indent. You've probably seen that before. Also, this works cited, I'm going to take this out of bold, I'm going to take it out of blue, and I'm just going to center it. Very generic looking. That's how you'll see it when you look up articles of MLA formatting. So we just want this looking very generic, double spaced, no bold, anything like that. One thing you can do is you can go in here, and if you want to take away the underline and just put these titles wherever it made things underline, if you want to make them metallic, that might look a little nicer. That is acceptable for MLA. Putting the titles of your articles or the titles of the web page article in italic is fine. So that's, that's the only thing we have to do there. So we just generated a bibliography, and I'd recommend, if you had any changes to this, to just regenerate it. So if you had to manage your sources, let's just try this out. Let's say I went into one of these and the date changed. I'll go in this Wikipedia, I'll edit it, and let's say they just updated it on Wikipedia. And I'll hit it here, and I'll hit OK, and I don't even know if it puts the date access in here. It probably does. I'll hit OK, and I'll hit yes, that I want to update these changes, and I want to hit close. Now I don't know if it's going to do that, and here it didn't. Notice it didn't change this 10th here. So if you had to do this, you'd have to actually have to do this again, or just manually change it. Now there are features in Word 2011 that will update all that automatically, but for the sake of people using older versions and people using Mac versions, what I'd recommend is, if you did update your sources, just insert the bibliography again and just do that formatting over. So if you had to do that, just delete this, just insert your bibliography. It's not that hard. Use the works cited version. Again, I had to do a couple formatting things. I just had to make it Times New Roman. I had to make it double spaced, and I had to make sure that everything was black. I'm just taking out that blue there. And this last thing, I'm going to make that unbold and center it. So that wasn't that hard, and here's the new date that it updated in there. So that's all you have to do with your bibliography, and you're done. That's it. And again, it put the underlines here, so if you'd want to change those and just make them metallic, you can do that, or you can leave them underlined. I don't care which one you do, but I think it looks nicer and easier to read sometimes with the italic, rather than don't put both, put one or the other. So that's your bibliography. So that's it. Your paper's done. You could save this with your name, but make sure, what I'm going to look at when I get your paper is that you have 1-inch margins, everything's double spaced, this does not have a first line indent, this is double spaced, and that you have your header on here, and that you have these things in the right place. Now you might, depending what you're doing, some people might just want to go and might just look at this and say, I'm just going to type this in. But then again, if you try to cheat in that way, you're not going to be able to generate your bibliography. So try to use the tools you have. I'll try to put up a quick video, the Mac version, You can do this the same way in a Mac, it's just under different places, so I'll show you that for both the 2008 and 2011 version. I'll put up a quick little video for that as well. So this is part 3, your bibliography. I hope this video helps. It's not the easiest thing to explain, without being there in class, but hopefully this will help.